Hey,
Hey, welcome back to Media Darlings. We're
I feel
filming this directly after the last episode. We're pre-filming, so we don't have as much stuff to talk about this time.
I feel like we actually didn't do like any pop culture in the last one though.
That's completely true. Well, yes. What is going on in the pop culture? All I know is that Hailey Bieber is pregnant.
I just saw that Emergency Intercom signed on with TMG Studios.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes so much sense because like they did a collab, like they went on the podcast, and then also they had Drew come back to just film like a funny video with them. That does
Mhm.
make sense. I'm kind of
That's
gonna
good
be
for them.
wait, because when we get Brooke and Connor X Emergency Intercom, literally like tectonic plates will shift. Like things are about to get serious, guys.
It's so funny because I feel like so many people we know, or like so many people like in general, watch Emergency Intercom, and every time I'm talking to someone about Brooke and Connor, they're like, "Huh, never heard of it."
Yeah, but like to us, that means so much.
Like crazy. And in my mind, they're like a really pretty big podcast.
Yeah, because we talk about them so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, honestly.
Wow. I don't know what else is going on in pop culture news. I think, okay, I'm just like really leaning into becoming a K-pop kind of fan. But now the problem with that is like I don't know what's happening in the real world because I'm on my like K-pop Twitter account where like I don't see anything but like K-pop pretty much.
Okay, wait, I have like two things kind of. They're related a bit. First of all, the idea of you with Nicholas Galitzine and Anne Hathaway is like apparently the best selling Amazon Prime original movie or something. Or like the
Oh,
best selling rom-com. It made so much money, I guess. Which makes sense because it was like a good plot idea. I just didn't think the movie was that good. But good for them. And also, the first trailer for It Ends With Us came out today. And
oh, I did see a little bit of that on Twitter. I just saw a tweet that was like, it's crazy that they're making like the non-white man like the one who's like crazy or something like that.
well, I didn't know what that was about. Like, I knew Colleen Hoover made kind of questionable books,
Mhm.
but I had no idea what it was about. But I know that that book was so popular.
Yeah, it is a bit concerning now that I know that it's about like
It's about like domestic violence.
domestic violence. Yeah, that so many people were like obsessed with this diva.
Yes.
Like,
Like,
okay.
oh, that's interesting. And I think she has multiple books about that, but I also don't think that's like, I mean, I don't know her, but I don't think that's something she's experienced. So I think that's just something she writes about.
I have no clue. I'm just like anti Colleen Hoover in general,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think
from a literature perspective.
like that's kind of a crazy like yeah. I don't know. I watched the trailer and it looked bad. And also
Yeah.
people were like Blake Lively is like not who this should be. I
Yeah. Um,
think that's it, pop culture wise.
okay, so you know, there's this big trend of like, oh my gosh, a girl's notes app is like the craziest place in the world. Whatever. For me personally, I'm like kind of a minimalist. And so I like will delete notes that I don't need or like random, like the kind of funny ones that people post, you know? Most of my notes are like predictions of things that came true. And I'm like, I have to keep this because this is proof that like I am a prophet and I do have the gift. Or like things that are very specifically related to things that I'm a fan of, like inhaler things, etc. I do have a few funny like lists or like random ones. Most of my funny ones though are quotes. But before we get into that, here's my like few funny random lists. I have one called Icebreakers that only has two questions in it. And the first question is, what would you show to your alien? And then the second question is, what's your favorite Glee cover? Those were the only two icebreakers that I could think of. So, yeah. The next list is called lore because I always say that I have like very specific and random things happen to me that I feel like would not happen to anyone else. And I was like, I need to start keeping track of these, but I always forget to write in it. But my lore list is just when I Venmo requested Timothy Chalamet and he denied it. When I beefed with the person who made that really, really famous Timothy Chalamet edit, like the really famous one where it's like him doing the dance.
Hmm.
And then when I kind of like personally blew up the theory, the red, white, and royal blue slash the social network conspiracy theory. Those are my like three big pieces of lore. Yeah. Which I can't even like start to get into any of those. I think we could make an episode eventually about we should make an episode about the social network where it'll just be like another episode of like me explaining stuff to you, and then we can talk about the red, white, and royal blue thing and how I kind of like single-handedly blew that up, but whatever. And then my last funny list is I have one that's just called Best Music Supervision in Modern Film History Contenders. And I just keep a list of like my favorite kind of music moments in movies recently. And so I have immediately the first two are The Social Network. I have Ball and Biscuit by the White Stripes in The Social Network and Creep by Radiohead in The Social Network trailer. And then what are some other like funny ones on this list? Oh, 212 by Azalea Banks in The Bling Ring, of course. I think that's like the number one contender, in my opinion. But most of my funny notes are like this really long quotes list, mostly of things that Aubrey has said. So before I start getting into that long list, do you want to go over some of your notes?
Sure. My notes app is like not home to all that much because I love posting things for validation as we discovered in the last episode. So like most of the things I like think that are like random are getting posted. But I have some. The first one is like my baby names list, which is only funny because it's like insane and very white.
Mhm.
Um, there's 5 names on this list and they're all boys. Crazy because I would never want a son. No, no, and at this moment,
Mhm.
if I were to have a son, I would obviously love him. How horrible if you look back at a video of like your mother and she's like, I would never want a boy. Okay. First name, Everest. Now, this name is so important to me, specifically because I know exactly where it is coming from, and that is like a Wattpad story that I read when I was 11. Like, and I remember reading that and being like, I actually love this name.
Imagine if you asked your mom, like, how'd you come up with my name? And she was like,
I
uh,
read it in a book somewhere.
I read it in a book somewhere, and the book in question is a Wattpad story from 2015.
Like a really random one. Like it wasn't even like a Harry Styles fan fiction. It was just like a real storyteller on that app. Hmm.
Mhm.
Second one. Oh, this might be a girl. Pepper. No idea where that's coming from, and I'm actually not enjoying it in this moment.
That
So,
was one of my old like family dog names. Like that to me is like a pet name.
well, I I don't I don't find that to be like a distinguishing factor for me because I would like obviously love to name a pet like a human name. Like
Mhm.
a dog named Bob, that's kind of so fire. My dog, her name is Maisie. There are many people named Maisie. Like I haven't met people named Maisie. I just
Mhm.
like don't care to distinguish. I think it's kind of like I mean, unless your kid's name is like, oh well, this is actually a popular name. I was gonna say Rufus. But there are people named Rufus. If your kid's name is like Paws or something or like Spot,
Spot. That
like
would be
that
great.
that's wrong. But if your kid is named Pepper, who cares? Okay, my third one is very similar to my first one. Forest. I have actually no idea.
I know someone whose name is Forrest, but it's with two R's.
Isn't it? Don't you like it?
I do like it with the two R's. I don't like it with one R.
I've met multiple people named like River or like Rivers.
Oh, you would name your kid River for
I
sure.
wouldn't. But
Really?
I've like I wouldn't because I know like people name with that name.
Oh, wait, I just remembered. I just,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, okay. I
But
just
then also
remembered.
like someone I know from here has that name and
Mm.
I'm like that's kind of a cool name. But yeah, you remember that? That was life-changing finding out you could name your kid River. Like we were like blown away. Okay. My last one is for twins. Cain and Abel.
You cannot name your twin sons Cain and Abel. Like, okay, this should you talk about your idea for your experiment? I feel like we have to discuss
Okay,
it.
okay. There was like a time in my life and whatever. I just have like for some years said like if I were to have kids, because I'm an only child, okay? Only child. First of all, if I was to have kids, I'd have multiple because it's inhumane to have only children. Um, but like I would maybe do like a bit of a social experiment on them where I would raise them all completely differently and see how they turn out. Now, I have gotten backlash on this idea over the years because people have been like, first of all, your kids are gonna resent you so much, like you're gonna have to like worry about your safety. I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. And also, like, it is like bit immoral to test on humans in this way. And also, like, it would be really hard to do. Like, that's kind of the main point. But I think there is like a way that you could do it. And I think with twins, especially, it would be too perfect. The conditions would be great because it's the exact same. Like they're the same, like identical twins, especially if you just raise them differently, but like in the same household. I would never want to like split them up. That would be wrong.
That would be wrong. Yeah.
But if you raise them in the same household, just like different, like not like one with love and one without love or anything, but like kind of have certain goals in mind for each of them that are different. Like have one that you want to be really academic and have one that you want to be really sporty, or like certain end goals that you want to accomplish. Like I just think that would be kind of an interesting study on nature versus nurture.
Okay, and see, we're gonna start to get into my quotes note now because and I have this very long quotes note that I've kept going for years, and it's mostly with like funny quotes that Aubrey has said. And I do have this one that says, I think I'd like to raise multiple children, all very differently. I'd probably get murdered in my sleep, but hopefully they'd be kind enough to do it before I turn 65. Like,
Too good.
also just to show like how long this note like has been going for, one of the first quotes in this list on the topic of baby names, you said, I'm either naming my kid after Gigi Hadid's or Nicki Minaj's. We'll just have to wait and see.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And they both have kids. I could either do Papa Bear or Kai. I like Kai a lot more.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that's one of the first ones. The very first one in this list is I live in the moment, but I don't fuck with the moment. Which I think is still true of you, like to this day.
Yeah, it is. I really just like, yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, this one is a classic. When I become president, people with red phones are going to jail. They're target number 5. The overlap with people who own Dodge Chargers is perfect for me. Then I won't have to execute 2 groups.
And this is before I found out about the AIDS thing, okay? Circling back.
Yeah, of course.
This is before, okay?
Uh-huh. Um, this one, I like, okay, this one is just, I have empathy, but like only for myself. Like, a fuck. Um, this one, I just have to ask if you want to give the backstory on this. I don't think this is that funny, but it's just like I'm wondering about the story on this. You said doing the talent show in 4th and 5th grade and being bad is my villain origin story.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Like dreams crushed. I wanted to be a pop star so bad when I was a kid. I was like Hannah Montana for Halloween. Like
Mhm.
I really, it was my goal. And I transferred to a new elementary school. And I was like, well, I have no friends here because I was like being really stubborn. I was so mad that I transferred schools and I was being really stubborn. I was like, I'm not making new friends. I won't deal with it, mom. Even though obviously it was only affecting me. It's like obviously who else would be getting hurt there? And so I was like, I have no friends. And I was like, well, I don't know anyone here, and I'm like never gonna see these kids again. Not true. Obviously, that was like I didn't move houses. Like,
Yeah. And the friends that you made are still your friends today.
yeah. But that was in fifth grade. Oh no. Yeah. But in fourth grade, I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna do the talent show. Like no one's even gonna know who I am. And I did the talent show and I sang Fireworks by Katy Perry, which is actually a very hard song to sing. Like I really, and also not not the most talented individual, of course. And I brought my track and they couldn't play my CD. Like they just it was incompatible with whatever they had. So I was like, that's fine. I had to do it a cappella. Yeah, I did it a cappella. It like literally could not have gone well at all. So I don't know why the next year I was like, I'm doing the talent show again.
Of course.
Um, and I did it with a friend this time. And we did What Does the Fox Say? And we did it again, a
I remember
cappella.
this, I remember, yeah.
Yes, I mean you remember this performance.
Mm.
It's not good at all. I can't remember either of these performances. Well, I remember like a little bit of it because I remember going on stage and being nervous and I just like but I don't remember singing at all. But What Does the Fox Say was too good because we were wearing matching Justice outfits, like our skirts and our shirts, and they had ruffles. And once again, a cappella. And I distinctly remember in practice one day, we were doing one because it's like da 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 da, and then it's like different noises like that. We were doing like one of those, and she was like, "You cannot do that. Like you have to change that." And it's because it sounded like the F word. We're like, "Fa, fa, 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 fa." She was like, "No." And I just have a memory of that distinctly. But I just think I like was so conscious that they were like bad that I was like, I have no talent. I got it. Gotta
Mhm.
wrap this up.
So that made you become a villain.
Yes. Because after that, like, what were my goals? What were my aspirations? I don't think I developed another one. Because we had this thing, oh God. My problems with ambition run so deep. It's
Uh-huh.
scary. Because when I was
I'm looking at a quote in my quotes note that also you said, I need a life where it's impossible to succeed, so I can't fail either.
yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. I got, I hope this is it. Oh my God. I got this. This is chills. I got this fortune the other day. It says, "You will never know your full potential until you try."
Whoa. Yeah.
Anyways, after the talent show, I was like, I have nothing else I want to do. Like, I'm bad at the one thing I have always wanted to do, be a pop star, be famous. Um, and in sixth grade, we had to do like the wheel, which was like an elective wheel. And everyone like found an elective they really liked and applied for to be in that class in seventh grade. And I literally was like, I don't care. And I did the wheel again. I did the wheel 2 years in a row. That's so lazy. Like, no one does that except for degenerates. It was so lazy. And I was like, why did I do that? Why? But yeah.
Okay, also, this is kind of going back to what you said about kids. I have another quote in here where you said you have to have favorites so your other kids have something to work for, which is a crazy thing to say as an only child because, like, you've never experienced that. So, like,
I
how would
have experienced that
you, with what?
with my cousin.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit different, but it's with my like grandmother and my cousin. And I've experienced it very bad. One year she gave him a car and she gave me a National Geographic book for
Okay,
Christmas.
that's fine.
It's very cute.
But
And she's like the
it's kind
same grandma to both of us. Like, do not have different experiences with her.
But it's not like that it has encouraged you to work harder, has it? Like you still have no aspirations.
It has because I'm graduating college early. Not everyone can say that.
Hmm.
I
Uh-huh.
told you they used to whatever. I can't. We're not gonna get into this. Actually, we're not getting into this. Like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. This one is so good. I didn't even put this in the quotes note. Like this is separate as its own note in my phone because I think about it so much. And you said, if you were meant to shoot a gun, one would appear. If it's meant to be, it'll be. And that was Aubrey on Free Will.
whoa.
And I remember we were having that discussion in the Sonic parking lot. Do you remember that?
No, because I don't know why I would be talking about guns. Like,
It was not even about that at all. We were both just talking about like we have the same discussion every single time you come home and we're together where we're discussing like our futures and what we're gonna do. And we always start talking about free will. And then you just said that. Like we were not talking about guns at all. And you just like had to use that as an example.
that's too good. That's
Um, Another quote from the note. You said if you ever became famous, I'd immediately dox you out of jealousy.
I think like maybe in this day and age I wouldn't, but I know when I said that it was true.
Why? Like,
There
okay,
was
nothing.
some tension there still. I know it.
Okay.
I know
Um,
there was unresolved beef there still at that time. We, this has been a rocky road. Like,
we
yeah,
haven't come very far, yeah.
yeah. So I
Um,
believe that I said that and I meant that. But like now, I would not do that to you.
um, you said this we might have to cut. You said 5'8" and below are gay heights for men, except for 5'4", which is straight but sad.
I'm gonna amend that. I think 5'6" is also straight.
Okay. Um,
It's my only amendment to that.
um, this one, you were playing a card game, and the question was like, "What are the seven deadly sins?" And you said lying, being gay, abortion, adultery, and pride, which is not even seven. And the fact that, like, like, what? How did what? You were just thinking of like sins in general.
I've seen the things that like Republicans hate the most.
Of course. Hmm. Hmm. This one is so funny. We're gonna absolutely have to cut this one, but like, I just have to say because it's hilarious. The UCs extended the deadline because they knew we needed time to cope with the devastation that is the sidebar.
Cut.
Oh my God.
Actually, we could just bleep the name.
Yeah, I guess we can, but yeah, it was just someone that we
No,
knew
we
that
don't. No,
got
we
us.
don't need to go into it.
Okay, yeah, okay. You said hanging out with you is so toxic for me, but I'm not going to stop doing it. We have confirmation bias with our suicidal thoughts. The people we surround ourselves with are depressed. Have you seen the virgin suicides? Give it a few months and it'll be us. I don't think that that's true.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
there was just like a real rough patch.
It was a real rough.
It was a real, I'm guessing that was in 2021, twenty twenty
Probably
two.
it had to be, yeah.
There was
Um,
a real rough patch there, but that's not true of me at all.
oh, it had to be 2021 because after that I have one that said 2021 is the year of straight girls with gay boyfriends. Do you want to elaborate on that?
That's speaking for itself.
Okay.
I know I had reasons to say that.
I remember there was like you had like a list that of like yeah. Um Hating has brought no good to my life, but it's the only thing I love doing.
That's not true of me anymore either.
See growth.
I really don't hate that many things anymore.
Yeah.
Just some things really hard.
Yeah. It's much more concentrated
It's
now.
way more concentrated because there's like two things in my two people in my life right now that I like hate so bad
I don't
in
even
my life. Oh,
know.
yes.
hmm You said this recall election is very important to me because Gavin Newsom is sexy.
I was arguing with my roommates about that, or with one of my roommates about that the other day because we have very different political views. And I was like, Gavin Newsom is so sexy. And she was like, he's awful. And I was like, he's so sexy. And she was like, no, he's not. And also, why are you voting for people because they're sexy? And I was like, he's also like fine at his job, I guess. Like, I don't know, he's so hot. But she's like, that's really not right. Like, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, I'm actually a political science major, so I think I know more about it than you do.
I think I know more about American Girl dolls than you do, genius.
Mhm.
This, you said in my hometown, the stizzification is so real. That's not even funny. That's just history. That is true.
The
Because
whatification?
stizzification.
Oh.
And that, ever since you said that, I like have really realized that stizzies are such a kind of like regional thing. I thought that stizzies were popular like everywhere. Stizzies are like a very like California thing.
They're even like kind of popular down here, but way less. Like
Yeah.
they're way more popular up north.
Yeah. Um, this you said my evil villain name is gonna be Tara Wrist. Like
That's so funny.
like if you were like an evil drag queen, you could do that too.
Or a bit. Oh my God. Okay.
Right. Oh, I have multiple back to back where it was just like you discovering that certain songs were covers. We were talking about Inhaler songs, and you said, I don't like Faded to You. And I was like, well, that's a cover. And you said, are you serious? Like, that is the most famous, like, Mazzy Star song. And then, also, I was playing their cover of That's Entertainment by The Jam. And you were like, I like this. Is this an unreleased? And this is the worst one by far.
This one's bad because I get backlash about this from other people too. People will text me sometimes and be like, remember when?
Yeah. Um, I said Greta Van Fleet covering Rolling in the Deep is so random. It's like Inhaler covering Your Power by Billie Eilish. And you said, I thought Your Power was Inhaler's song. And Your Power is like a very famous song.
Is it?
I feel like when it came out, it was like everywhere.
I've never heard the Billie Eilish version. Like, and that's not
I
even
think,
my bias speaking. I've never heard it. But also, it makes so much sense because I went back and looked at the lyrics and I was like, oh, this is obviously from a female perspective. I
yeah,
thought they were just being like mega feminists,
they
which
would
is
never
so
do
off brand for them. So I don't
that.
know why I ever thought that. But
And keep in mind, these men sing, I fucking hate that bitch. So, you know. You said if I can go back in time, I'm sorry, I would not stop 9/11. I would go to a One Direction concert. Which is just like no one was at I don't think anyone was asking you to stop 9/11, but you had to throw that in there.
I think that's what most people would do.
That's not what I would do for sure, but anyways, um this was, oh my God, this is funny because it's 2024 right now. On January 3rd, 2022, you said, I feel like 2024 is going to be our year. So you had already given up on 2022. You had already taken the L on 2023, and you were like, you know what? I'm going to shoot way out in the future. I think 2024 is going to be our year.
So far, it's looking not actually that good.
I mean, you're graduating, and we finally started the podcast. So, like,
Actually, it's a good point.
yeah.
But we're gonna have to see what Q3 and Q4 bring before I can like determine if that was a good prediction or not. Right now, I think we're at like a net zero, maybe like a little bit up, but like potentially we're looking at like something real scary. But it could be something beautiful too, you know?
It's very wise. Um, Speaking of wise, this one is also like really not that funny, but it's just like I thought that this was like an insane thing to say. Like this is like if this was like a quote from a book on Tumblr, like I would repost this. You said I would be pissed if I was a ghost. I wouldn't know what my unfinished business is. I will have never known my purpose even in death. That's like kind of Shakespearean. Like I will have never known my purpose even in death. Like wow. You said this one is funny because we talked about last episode, your kind of like religious leanings. And you said, I love being a hater when things are corny, and religion is so corny.
I'm sorry.
Just an apology, okay.
That was wrong of me.
Mhm.
I actually think we've talked about this before. I actually think it's very beautiful when some people have something to believe in.
Mhm.
Some aspects of religion that are very corny, but
Mhm. You said winning and being thirsty is the pinnacle of my existence. That makes so much sense why you enjoyed Challengers. That's kind of what that movie's all about.
that is actually crazy. Like that's a crazy self-read to be like winning and being thirsty is the pinnacle of my existence because it's like, whoa. Yes.
Yes, but the self-awareness kind of makes it worse. Like,
It makes it so much worse. I didn't even say like winning and yearning. I said like winning and like being thirsty.
I thought that makes sense because what you just said, like you were looking at men in short shorts and you were like, I'm like Gollum with that damn ring.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. Whoa.
You said this is something you actually kind of say frequently. Like this is a consistent logic of yours. You said, honestly, now that I've bought the $700 ticket, that money is gone to me and I'm basically going to Coachella for free. You love to say that.
Things are free once you've paid for them. That's true about like everything.
Uh-huh.
Because that money's already gone. You can't ever get that back. So at
Right.
that point, especially things where the ticket comes in the mail, like for Coachella and then for like Lollapalooza and stuff. Oh, actually, my Outside Lands tickets were free because I got my tax return the day I bought them, and they were like the same amount. So that was free. But like when you buy things and then you receive it in the mail like a week later, like 2 months later, even is better. You're like, oh my God,
I've completely forgotten about this.
free, 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 free. Because that money is so long gone, I can't even remember what it looked like.
Hmm.
This is a new era of my life in which I'm just receiving gifts in the mail. I'm being gifted tickets.
Of course. It's like you're sending yourself a PR package.
Yes. Yes, it's like that. Or like when you pay for things in cash.
Oh, I do actually do that. When I pay for things in cash, it's free. Yeah. That money was never real to me. I was never
Until
taking.
I have used all my cash, then I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Um, you said being balcony at a concert is so easy. You don't even have to serve cunt that hard. But I actually don't think that that is true because in my experience being balcony at concerts and also in my experience being in the pit, when you're in the pit, you're like, usually at like a smaller venue, you're like, oh, who's on the balcony? Because if there's like guests of the band or something, you're like, they're
Mm,
gonna be on the balcony.
like
So then,
Hozier.
yeah. So then when you're on the balcony, it's like, oh, like there's awareness, like, and you can tell when people are looking at you. Like you can tell. And so it's like, fuck, like I kind of need to serve cunt. Like so people think that I'm like dating them or friends with them,
Okay,
etc.
I feel like when you're on the balcony, like you don't need to serve face that much, but you do need to serve like energy.
Yeah. That is true. It's kind of it just changes like who you're kind of serving for.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um,
Um,
you said Midnight's was worse than Harry's house, but I will never forgive Harry's dials.
that is true. That is true. Like Taylor Swift can do wrong and has. I'm not ever expecting perfection from her. Like ever. But like Harry Styles should know better. He
I think it's just like it's really disappointing when he releases music that is like not really enjoyable for us because it's just like HS1 was so good. It was so good. It's insane.
it's just meant so much to me. Like out of my top 10 songs, I think six of them, like of all time, are from Harry, like HS1.
Yeah.
It's just so, so important to me. And everything since I've been like, although I listened to Fine Line the other day and I was like, this is beautiful, the song.
Mhm.
So I know he has it in him still. Like I know he does. I feel like this next album should be good. It's supposed to come out in June, or like single in June.
That's
Little
right.
birthday gift. I'm holding out hope, but I see how I'm holding out hope and I'm not just excited. With Taylor Swift, even though like Midnights was midnights and the Tortured Poets Department was something that happened, like I'm still always gonna be excited for her next album because it's just like there's always gonna be something there. There's always gonna be something juicy. She's keeping so much juicy information in those lines. Like it's kind of like my inclination towards gossip and towards chisme. That's what Taylor Swift delivers for me. Her
Mhm.
style's like, I actually need talent from you.
Yeah. Harry Styles, we're gonna go ahead and need you to produce art, but you never asked for that from Taylor Swift.
No, folk, no, no, because Folklore and Evermore were like
Yeah.
so out of pocket for her that like too out of pocket. That's not what I want to say.
Out of character.
Out of character, I guess, for her that like to ever expect that again is wrong on your part as a fan. You need to just count your blessings and take them and be happy with what you're getting now. Okay? And there's like always gonna be hidden gems. Like, she's still talented, but she produces so much more that it's like it's more about dopamine with her. But with him, it's like I need this to be good because this is actually your job.
Hmm. Okay, back to the notes. This was about Oppenheimer slash Barbie. You said, I like feminism, but I love bombs. But okay.
Oh my God.
Once again, like, what could this possibly mean? Like, what could that have meant?
That's
Like,
so straightforward.
what so many of yours are just like self reads, like you just being like so self-aware of like exactly what you are. And like I think that is hilarious. Um, okay, next one. You said, okay, well, first, do you want to talk about your Michael Jackson connection?
We talked about it
You did.
briefly. Yes, because we talked about it with Drake. You weren't. We talked about it with Drake because I was like, I'm actually very connected to him due to he compares himself to Michael Jackson. And Michael Jackson actually died on my sixth birthday. And so whenever I'm doing like two truths and a lie for like class presentations, I always say like, oh, I killed Michael Jackson. Even though it was my sixth birthday. Like it wasn't even I was born when he died. It was just like he didn't get reincarnated as me. It was just like a random, but like there's no better way to say that.
It is a really good way to say that. You should tell the story of how you met Gabby's friend who had the same birthday as you.
What happened?
You just told me that Gabby was like, "Oh my God, you have to meet this guy because he has the same birthday as you," and immediately you guys were like, "Oh my God, so Michael Jackson died on your birthday."
In
Yes.
community. I remember it so clearly because I was at Disneyland and the vibe was so bad. And I was like, we're at Disneyland. Why are you guys like this? Like, who is Michael Jackson? I remember being like, is it really that serious? Like Michael Jackson? Like, who cares? I was like
Aw.
six.
Well, I have this quote where you said I prefaced it by saying Aubrey on her birthday slash Michael Jackson's death day, and you said I was powering up and he was getting his youth drained, which is just like such a funny way to say it. Like I was powering up and he was on his way out. Like,
That's so true.
this was when we were on a FaceTime call and it was just us two. You said everyone on this phone call would die for a gay boyfriend, kinda. Like,
I'm making myself laugh out loud. Like,
why would you why did you say that?
it's so true.
I don't think that that's that
At
true.
the time, I know when this must have happened. Like,
When what was the culture of the like what was this moment
I just
in
think
time?
like the culture of like you and I.
Like
There have just
I
been
don't
periods of our lives where it's like I would actually like die for a gay boyfriend.
okay.
I think that that doesn't mean like actually.
This was when I know for a fact this is when you were reading the Raven cycle. So maybe it's related to that. Because the next quote after that is like about the Raven cycle. It's when I showed you the like illustrated art version and you just said, "Oh my God, they made out of a twink." Like,
Because why would they do that? That's not who he is.
okay.
Oh, because also I do not ever read descriptions in books like
Oh,
of characters. I will always skip that because I don't care.
yeah, that pisses me off so bad. Anyways, the next one, I have no clue what you were talking about, but you said this isn't misogyny, this is just hateful. And I remember it was like you were saying something about a woman, and I was like, you're being misogynistic. And then you were like, I'm not being misogynistic, like I'm just being hateful.
It could be about like a number of things.
And maybe that was also about the Raven cycle.
I don't know who it would be about though. I didn't hate any of the women in that book, in those
Oh God,
books.
I don't know. This wait, I have to talk about this because you in the last episode you were talking about how you have maladaptive daydreams about the hot honey wings. I I asked you and I said like what because you talk about them so much. And I was asking you like what do they even taste like? And you just said dreams.
They're so good. Oh God. They're so good.
Oh my God, I'm so hungry right now. Like I haven't even had those wings, but like I'm so hungry right now.
You can get them in chicken tender form. Like you might actually really enjoy that.
But like what do they take? The thing is you've never told me
They're
like
like a little bit sweet and a little bit spicy.
but I don't know if I don't want my like meat to be really sweet. Actually,
I didn't
I
say really sweet. I said a little bit sweet and a little bit spicy. And it's really good. Like it's a subtle flavor.
are they paying you for this? Like the
No,
amount
I'm telling you, the amount of people that I've been like, let's go to Wingstop, like let's go to Wingstop, like, and they're like, it's life.
this is proof like the best advertising you can do is having a good product.
Yes, because I don't even usually like Wingstop that much. Like, I
Uh-huh.
really don't. I would never rave about any of the other flavors, only their ranch. And you like ranch, actually. You might have to go give it a try.
Mhm. Oh my God, wait, I just remembered one that I have it in my Instagram stories. And so like I should have screenshotted this for our Instagram stories episode, but like I have to talk about this because it is like another Aubrey quote. You said, okay, so we have a very good friend named Gabby, and you said I've spent more time with Inhaler this year than I have with Gabby, which is both a self diss on how much we saw Inhaler this year and a diss on Gabby for not hanging out with you. And I think after I posted that on my main Instagram story and I tagged Gabby because I thought it was so funny. And I think after that you were like, she hung out with me, like out of feeling bad, like out of pity.
I know that that made her feel bad. I know, or I don't think it made her feel bad. I think she's just like, why are you saying that? I think it made her like a little bit irritated a bit.
Like you were defaming her when kind of it was just really about how the amount of times we also just like saw Inhaler
Really,
that year.
because we saw it here like probably like 11 times that year,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And I don't see Gabby that often, like unless I'm at home, even though
But
we,
that is crazy because you live in the same city.
yes. But like thinking back on that, I see Gabby so much more now. But also I have a car now. But like
I
I
do
see
think
Gabby.
like the public call out, I do think like initiated that.
I used to love calling people out on my stories. Oh my God, I would do it all the time. I did it to our friend Josh once because he was like not answering my text or something. And I did that to him. And then I did it to our friend Jalen because she we were supposed to hang out. I actually this is like it was like Valentine's Day or the weekend of, and we were supposed to hang out and she was not responding to me. And I like called her out on my Instagram story and I was like Jalen, like where are you? Like why are you doing this to me? Like I wanted to go see you. Like I wanted to go see her and she's not texting me back and we had made plans. And then she responded, she was like, I'm sorry, like it's Valentine's Day. She was like, and then we hung out the next day. So
It kind of work.
it works every single time.
Yeah. Um, Also related to that, this is why I thought of it, is because you said this quote, I've spent more time with you before 6 a.m. than anyone else in my life. Which is true, but I remember when you said that, I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. Like it is like a very special, insane kind of like bond that we have.
Yeah.
Um,
It's scary for sure and
it
fun.
it is scary for sure, but it's like one of the things like I feel like I'm gonna look back on. Like when I if I have kids in the future, like I'm gonna tell my kids like that was my best friend. Like we spent so much time before 6 a.m. together.
Oh, we used to sit in the street with blankets for hours on end.
Right. This is another one that I just think was like kind of wise. You said dreams turn into nightmares when you wake up. Like what dream were you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about how I always have romantic dreams and I wake up and they're not real.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That is true.
That because
Yeah.
it turns into a real nightmare where I'm like, oh, this is my reality.
Like, oh, I have actually never been loved. So, yeah. This is my last one in my very long Aubrey quotes. I didn't say all of them. I just kind of went for like the hard hitters, but this is the last one. Pookie is really a 23-year-old man you've never met, which is, I feel like, very specific for us. Like, I feel like if someone else like heard that, they would like not understand what you meant. But like, it's just kind of related to like our obsession with men and bands. And you have a very special connection to one man in particular who you exclusively called Pookie.
Yeah, I don't ever use the word Pookie about like anyone else because I don't.
You used to hate that word. I remember. You like when people would say that on Twitter, you'd be like, I don't know why people say that. Like that's so weird. Like I hate that. That's so cringe. And now you unironically like only refer to this man as Pookie.
It's so bad that like Gabby does not know his name. Like, I don't think I ever hated the word. I think I was just like, it's really cringy when people call real people that they like are not actually dating Pookie. Like I think that that's like I always thought that was really really cringy when people would be on Twitter like Pookie Pookie. I'm like that's really like a very close term of endearment.
And now
I
look at you.
do call this one man that, but like it's like his name. Like it's
If
not necessarily like a term of endearment anymore. I
I
mean it
search
is, of course.
if I searched Pookie in my text, like it would just be you being like, oh my God, Pookie, oh my God, Pookie.
Like
Like
it's his name. I would never call anyone else that. And that's reminding me when I was watching, I don't even know why this was like in my head. I was watching the new Planet of the Apes movie, and I literally had a fleeting thought where I was like, um, Hookzilla Bayosaurus. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? Like sometimes I'll have thoughts and I'll be like,
when the brain rot gets so bad that you
oh
scare
my
yourself, like what are you talking
God. Like
about?
no, because I think Pookzilla all the time. I'm like, oh my God, Pookzilla. And I'm like, that is crazy. Pookzilla. I have like only a few other notes. Um, one of them is my like play-by-play. Oh my God. Oops. One of them is like my play-by-play of how Joe Burrow is the key to the 49ers winning the Super Bowl. which I crafted I think the day after, and that's just one of my football takes. We won't have to talk about that. And then this one is just a note that said, would this be funny or weird? And it's like bullet points, but there's only one bullet point, and it says commenting, does the queen respond on influencer videos?
I think it is like the most embarrassing thing in the world when anyone like comments something like that where they're like begging for an interaction.
But imagine if it was someone you knew doing that. Like, would that be kind of funny?
Oh, that would be funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like if it was like me doing that. I think that would be funny because you only ever see people doing that and they're like people that like aren't real. They're either bots or just like really strange accounts.
Yeah.
But you never see people in your real life commenting things like, does the queen respond? I
Like
do.
I think it would be funny if like on like one of our podcast TikToks, like one of our friends commented that. Like if it's someone you know, like yes, that would be funny. But like when someone comments and it's like a normal person and they're obviously like begging for an interaction from the person, it's like, come on.
That's really
Maybe
embarrassing.
if you came up with like an original comment that was like funny or entertaining, like they'd probably like it. Like just do that. I have s-
Absolutely.
I have so many like comments that I've made on TikTok because one thing about me is like I love to make jokes and comments, and so many of them have gotten so many likes that like even though I my like main TikTok account that I've had for years, I don't really like go on it that much anymore, but every single time I do, I still have notifications from like all the comments I've left, which is crazy.
That's so funny you say that because I was just gonna say I always think it's so cringy when you see someone you know like commenting on people's TikToks, but it has like one like or like no likes. And you're like, why are you doing this? Like one of my friends, I always see her in comment sections and she's like responding to the creator. It's not like a funny comment she's leaving. She's leaving like a real comment responding to the creator. And I'm like,
Mm,
you don't know this person. Like
yeah.
they're never like jokes. They're always just like, oh, well, I do this and this and this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. See, I only like I leave a comment when I'm like I have a funny joke to make about this, and pretty much like every time it'll get likes. So I only leave comments that are funny because I'm a comedian, unfortunately.
Only
So
bangers.
yeah, bangers only.
Hmm.
Um,
I only have one note left.
okay.
And it's my Halloween costumes list. It's so hard for me to come up with Halloween costumes. Fanny Bryce, funny girl. Matilda, Kiss, like Kiss Army, Greta Thunberg, Paddington, Cocaine Bear, and George Santos.
That is good. That would have been a good costume. George Santos, that would have been really funny and timely. That would have been
It's like, what are these? Like, those are, like, looking back at it, all horrible ideas.
yeah, that's true. I always can never come up with Halloween costumes because I think, it's easy when it's like, oh, if there's like just people in the media who look like you. I unfortunately look like no one. I look like an alien. So like I can never come up with Halloween costumes. So I always just have to do like very generic ideas. I think I've already planned my Halloween costume for this year. I have an idea. I'm just gonna be a vampire. Because
That's good.
I've been really obsessed with vampires stuff lately.
It's really hard to come up with a costume that is like funny and recognizable and not like overpopulated.
Yeah.
Like the recognizable part is the hardest one because I did Dairy Girls this year and like very few people recognize what it was.
I did Bodies right after it came out. And everyone, I went to a Halloween party, everyone was like, "What are you?" And I was like, okay. Anyways, do you have anything else? I think that's it for this episode.
I'm done.
Okay. We don't have a weekly report because, it's the same as the last episode because this is pre-filmed. See, notice how my hair has completely dried now after we've been talking
Yeah.
for hours. I watched it today, so it looks so good. Always on like the first day when I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm having the best hair day of my life. And then tomorrow when I wake up and try and do it, I'll be like, I'm gonna kill myself. Anyways, thanks for listening. Subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
And Spotify.
It's well.
Bye. See you
Bye.
next week.